We are cranking it out right now.
Matt, are you ready to begin the cranking?
Crank.
First,
I don't know.
We will do our stretches. As I count backwards from 10 to 1, you will find yourself becoming more and more cranked. 10. Your toes are becoming cranked.
I just imagine we have
9.
a huge crank. I'm making motions like anybody can see me.
Matt, if they've made it this long, believe me, they have imagined you with a giant crank.
Bill's mistakes are timeless.
Massa Capital. He's listening. Matt, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder.
We have no heart.
Do you think anyone is now suddenly fonder of this, the Bill Simmons podcast?
Well, if they are, they haven't told us on any social media.
At what point do we become so lax about actually recording and then editing these things that we start telling the Patreon dudes or the anchor dudes, like, listen, we appreciate the money, but I feel like you're just chucking it off a cliff. Sorry, Pierre and the other producers.
We have not reached that point yet.
Please give us free money. My name is Chris.
And I'm Matt.
We like to go hard.
It's the Bill Simmons podcast.
God damn it. These motherfuckers.
Here we go.
Matt, today's date is October 16th.
That is today.
This podcast is from September 14th of 2020.
It's
Mercifully, 1:38:22. 9 seconds in. You know what makes Spotify great? Just in case you forgot.
You can change speeds.
I've forgotten. We've been away so long that I can no longer recall
You can check out their awesome charts.
the things that make Spotify awesome.
You can change speeds. You can check out their awesome charts.
At 28 seconds in, this botch.
I should have thought I had that.
I should have thought I had that. At 33 seconds in, Bill has been drinking.
Drink responsibly.
Responsibly.
Is it a bad move to say the Bacardi Sellers podcast should have been sponsored by Bacardi?
No, why would it be bad?
And now, this Bacardi Sellers moment
Yeah. That would be like whenever he's drunk.
on his podcast,
Yeah.
or just generally. The Bacardi Sellers moment, just sitting at his kitchen table, knocking back a spiced rum mojito, brought to you by Captain Bacardi's.
Yep, that's it.
At 1:37, Pearl Jam. At 3:45, this bail.
Pull out games, they probably, and then they didn't pull it out.
Pull-up games, they probably, what now?
They probably end.
At 4:03, CK. My notes say CK. I hope this has to do with Calvin Klein.
Could have had this happy euphoric.
I think he hits the K in work in a way that irritated me. At 4:14, a surplus of verbs.
I was stupidly bet on them.
I was stupidly bet.
Bet in this sentence operates like placed.
Right.
He could have stupidly been placed on them. He was stupidly bet on them.
I was stupidly bet on them.
At 5:06, this laughter.
But
At 6:59, a Joe Bluth bail.
It was like this optical. It was like, wait a second.
It was an optical illuse. At 7:56, unnecessary article.
They're like having the gambling.
At 8:57, unnecessary article.
I had an issue with the tennis.
At 9:25, Bill bails.
And you're trying to decide which side is, and it was just kind of eerie.
Which side? What, Bill? What did the
No.
side do?
He's trying to decide which side is. Is that side? Not yet. That side isn't. At 10:26, my notes say better sound effects. Don't know. So long since I took these fucking notes, man.
You're getting better sound effects, stuff like that.
Oh, he's talking about watching basketball in the bubble. And you know how vital to the NBA product sound effects are. This is the most crucial sound effect you'll ever hear in a basketball game.
Is that the rim?
That's when the players have boners.
Oh, Christ.
At 10:44, this Joe Bluth nominee. At 12:58, subject-verb agreement.
Then you watch all of these games. Minnesota's
Game, technically singular.
Right.
These, technically plural.
Okay.
At 16:03, unnecessary article.
give us the 30 seconds on the book,
At 18:30, etc.
etc.
At 18:42, Matt, a question for you about what this means. Now, Matt, this segment is called,
I thought we could call this segment "Defend Your Overreactions."
Right.
what do you think the segment is about?
I assume that someone during the segment has an overreaction.
I like so it. You have the overreaction,
Then they are forced to defend it.
but now you're going to defend the overreaction.
Nailed it.
Points for Matt.
I like so you have the overreaction, but now you're going to defend the overreaction. You go first.
At 21:06, double actually.
Actually,
And then at 21:18, more actually.
I actually thought he was going to get hurt.
At 21:37, out of context theater.
You could have digitally inserted.
I'm a big fan of digital insertion.
Matt, Mr. Prostate, podcaster. At 22:59, this Joe Bluth nominee.
Tom, his hair getting fuller each season.
24-12. I'm not sure what is being tied here.
Number one overreaction is tied off your overreaction.
It's like a balloon.
You tie off a boat?
No, you don't tie off a boat.
Just balloons? He probably means tied to.
Yeah.
At 26:55, unnecessary article.
That doesn't happen to the Bill Belichick special teams.
At 31:14, this Joe Bluth nominee.
Love it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
The dumbest rule in football.
At 31:27, Buffalo Bill, or as I like to think of it, Ed Grimley.
Quarterback who's actually in his early 30s.
Was that big fat girl in her early 30s? The quarterback was in his early 30s, I must say. It's Ed Grimley.
Oh, okay.
Martin Short. The worst single word you can hear in the Bill Simmons podcast, 33 minutes in.
Kyle.
At 35:38, this swallow.
When you think about it, Mostert,
At 38:23, this swallow.
you'll receive your customs
At 38:31, this swallow.
change to your treatment
At 38:38, this swallow.
bill to try out.
At 39:11, bad branding.
You've heard him on the BS podcast.
At 39:13, a botch.
It's a survival thriller
At 39:25, Matt, please judge the H out of this.
of a heart-pounding race.
It's an H. Definitely an H.
At 40:48, I find out on this.
I find out on this.
Maybe he's talking about being on his boat that he tied off. And that's where he found out on it.
When you heard the news, where were you?
On
Well, I
this.
can honestly say I found out on this.
That is very typical Bill. The thing.
The problem is, Matt, you know he's terrified of boats just in case there's sewage overflows.
Correct. But unless they are yachts and there is rock.
41:15, this Joe Bluth nominee.
But not no campaign, nothing.
41:29, more out of context theater.
Their D got momentum.
D for dick.
Yeah, no, I got it.
This seems like utterly pedantic. I think he means skill guys at 41:56.
They actually have some decent skills guys now.
Yeah, it's skill guys.
Yeah, you don't have a skills guy. Who is the guy with all the skills, Matt?
Agree.
At 43:31, this swallow.
Man, people were on that one.
Matt, guess what is overshadowing and guess what is being overshadowed at 43:59. If you're going to guess what's overshadowing, go ahead and guess.
Oh, anything?
Actually, Matt, that is remarkably close to what is being overshadowed.
Everything.
Good. What do you think is doing the overshadowing? Knowing it's Bill Simmons talking about.
Oh, thing.
Very close. Very close. 0 points.
And you have all this stuff overshadowing everything.
Oh, stuff.
Gotcha. Matt, would you say it is beneficial or not to have a good quarterback?
I think it's beneficial.
Bill agrees at 47:39.
If your quarterback's really good, that's a good thing to have.
I
Check.
think that's true.
At 51:24, this laughter.
I don't.
Matt, at 53:04, I can't believe that this is not part of the regular National Football League conversation.
He's got that Barney Rubble body. He's just like low to the ground.
Is the idea that Barney Rubble's legs are short
Yeah, I don't-
or that his body is low to the ground?
I mean, I guess he's a little smaller than Fred.
He's shorter for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't know, Chris. I
Is
have nothing to offer here.
Is it valuable to be a short-legged man?
Well, I guess it's like if you have a low center of gravity. I think this is a short-legged man.
At 54:08, this botch.
A pick I wanted to recommend for you.
At 104:40, laughter. At 106:56, this Joe Bluth nominee.
I was debating having a
At 107:14, Matt, Bill is advertising Bacardi, which is a drink. And he
Bacardi.
suggests, wait, shit. You're right. He also advertises Bacardi, but not now.
And not as a drink.
But I was right. Bacardi is, in fact, a drink. And at 107:14, Bill suggests doing this with Bacardi.
the Bacardi Spiced Rum and Coke. No brainer. Watch him during football.
Well, it's very tintillating.
It's what?
Titillating.
Titillating?
Yeah.
It sounded like you said tintillating,
Tintillating.
Maybe I
which is when your nipples get hard due to color.
because of tint.
Yes. By the way, it's almost the opposite of taintillating.
That sounds terrible.
At 109:19, this swallow.
Yep.
And the other thing with
At 110:52, this is a lie.
very rarely will I call my shot on Guess the Lines.
He calls his shot roughly twice a week. At 112:04, Matt Judge.
Steelers are home.
CH.
I felt like that was
hard
kind of close.
CH.
It's like oh really? I thought it was a rolling H. burbling
Home.
at 1:14:39. Oh no, he's back.
Kyle. Kyle.
Yo.
That's all.
That's the whole thing.
At 1:18:28, this swallow.
But I don't know.
At 1:19:42, unnecessary article.
Game just head to head against the Dallas, toggle back and forth.
At 1:20:51, an unusual unnecessary article.
Case scenario that Nick Nurse, you have all these.
An unnecessary that, Matt. The very unnecessary, very frequently.
I like
That,
it.
not
Just
really.
shakes things up.
Keeps us on our toes. At 1:21:19, this Joe Bluth nominee.
The things that worry me in order.
At 1:21:57, possibly scraping the bottom of the barrel for this out of context theater.
They're just hard.
At 1:24:47, this laughter. At 1:24:59, this swallow in an ad.
Car shopping. Our friends.
At 1:28:54, a bail.
My son, as we discussed in previous parent corners,
Preview parent corner.
It wasn't even a bail. Maybe he said preview.
He just didn't finish the word previous.
At 1:29:28, you'll never guess what Bill does.
does the thing.
The thing.
Yeah.
At 1:30:31, see if you can keep track of singular versus plural in this sentence.
It's fantasy and it's gambling. It's going to be the things that get them.
Fantasy and gambling
Yeah.
is going to be the things,
That get them.
or possibly him.
Or him, yeah.
At 1:30:49,
You didn't have to introduce him to gambling, though. Fantasy would have been enough, you maniac.
Well, it's not like tiny bets.
do you remember the tiny bets he made on behalf of his son or with his son?
The amount? I can't remember the amounts. They were not tiny.
I gave my son a little bank account to gamble with.
So
For
this
the
is
season.
opposite of what my father did.
Yeah.
$300.
At 1:34:51, this snort.
God,
At 1:34:57, this laughter and snort.
I didn't know anything about this freezer stuff.
At 1:36:28, I have twists and a swallow.
That will be one of the most shocking 96-hour twists I can remember in a series.
He means twists? Wow,
Well, you
maybe
get
he
caught up
swallowed the
with the
tea.
swallow.
Yeah. We'll be back after this. Matt, we use Anchor.fm for the Bill Simmons podcast. Anchor.fm allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, and it's free. Anchor will not only let you record and edit, you can also distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more through Anchor. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, which is handy for the Bill Simmons podcast. Anchor.fm has everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started.
CK is like, it's a gang thing, right? It's like Crips never write out CK because it stands for Crip Killer.
So they'll spell truck, Truk.
It's 2 C's.
It's like Bompton because Bloods never say
Right.
C.
Yeah.
All of the
Giving up
Bill
the
Simmons
secrets.
podcast fans who want to get their gang-based knowledge tight. But on September 16th,
We're within the month.
one full month ago, this was the Rosillo Pod, 2 hours, 1 minute, and 47 seconds. Man, the Rosillo Pods have gotten very
Yeah.
indulgent. 30 seconds in, bad branding.
Tonight's episode of the BS Podcast.
Is this after he started doing the new intro thing where he's like, coming up on the BS
Yeah.
podcast? And then he just does the regular intro and it's like, well, that's very disjointed. 37 seconds in, Spotify. Still good for these two things.
You can change your speeds. You can go check out their awesome charts.
Matt, at 53 seconds in, this is supposed to be an ad
Yeah.
for Subway. Listen to the words.
Starting with your game day order. Take it from me. When I say that you screw up your game day order, it could ruin the rest of the day. It happened to me on Sunday.
It's taken us 3 or 4 listens to figure this out. Now, take it from me. When I say, if you screw up your game day order, what he says is this.
Take it from me. When I say that you screw up your game day order,
Just re-record, dude.
It sounds like when he says you could screw up your game day order, that ruins the rest of your day.
He was choking on the syntax as he read it. And he and Kyle were both like, print it.
Look, if some advertiser came to us, Chris, and was like, here is money, do our ads, we would be like, jerk, great, no
You're
problem.
fucking A right.
It is so unbelievable that any human would say, you know what I really want when I'm watching a football game? A Subway sandwich. Subway sucks ass. There is nothing good about Subway.
But I do remember coming home from a long family trip. My dad would be like, let's go get us some Subway.
Yeah, in the town I grew up in, there was a Subway, and I can remember going there and with my mom, and we would order sandwiches, and every time I would be like, fucking Subway sucks. Why do we have to come here? There's not enough meat on those sandwiches. The bread sucks.
Microwave
Possibly
bacon.
the bread in in Ireland is now considered dessert.
Pastry, yes, 5 times as much sugar. Subway, I'll still take your money.
Hey, like I said, we'll take the money.
What if they gave us free subs? Would you say, no, I'm not taking a free sub? Would you rather spend money on your own food that you think is better or get free Subway sandwiches?
I would probably do it for free subs. But only because I'm a cheap ass motherfucker.
Yes.
And I complain about it and I'd say they suck.
Pearl Jam at 2:37. Matt, this is what I like to do on a fall weekend.
We've had cups of coffees with guys.
Would you like to try a single coffee, Matt?
No, cups of more than one coffee.
Many different kinds of coffees. It's like
a blend.
Fine leather-bound books and various exotic coffees. At 6:23, I love the challenge.
You're challenging somebody who already has the answers to the test. You're saying like, hey, here's another multiple choice test. And he's like, I have the answer key right here. What are you doing?
What are you doing indeed? Almost as good as Bill talking about food is Bill talking about cheating on a test. At 11:59, this Joe Bluth nominee.
And the schedule wasn't as kind of,
At 14:17, this bail.
and he would hit people and throw. So for whatever reason,
At 18:44, unnecessary article.
but the Jokic, Murray, Harris, Millsap,
At 18:46, this swallow.
those guys have been playing
Morris,
together for a while.
25 minutes in, this swallow.
Game one. When they got killed,
At 25:41, another swallow.
first day. No matter the industry.
At 28 minutes, unnecessary article.
Who was the James Harden before James Harden?
At 29:05, unnecessary article.
The game two.
At 29:20, guess Matt,
Articles?
unnecessarily so.
87 Pistons. The Isaiah steals the ball.
Matt, I take issue with the anatomy here at
I
30:30.
usually do too.
Would you say that was Clay just pulling their sphincters out?
I think the term for that is prolapse.
A sphincter is a muscle that squeezes in a circle.
Right.
You have a bunch of different sphincters in your body. The most famous sphincter is the butthole.
Right.
What he's talking about here is Clay pulling someone's butthole out. Now, Matt, here's the problem. At what point has it been deemed culturally appropriate, even when somebody is being considered a huge badass, to be like, man, they pulled their fucking buttholes out. That was an ass whipping. It makes no sense. No one in the history of mankind has been like, that was such a devastating victory. It was as if their anuses were removed. No one says that. You could say I pulled their soul out. You could say I pulled their heart out, but not their sphincter, man. At 30:46, Bill is not sure the reason he has brought something up.
Because they're all famous for whatever reason.
The reason he has brought it up is because they're what he's talking about. These are famous Game 7s. He is talking about them for a specific reason, which is that his point is being illustrated.
Yes.
At 54:49, who's watching playoff games?
It's just been so long since we watch playoff games.
Weege. Wow. At 55:57, laughter.
Did you
At 58:50, unnecessary article.
The Jokic is no lower than third or fourth.
Matt, at 1 hour and 56 seconds, please judge.
If we ever get like Heineken or one of these,
CH.
Keep listening.
I think Hard No Locker would.
Hard. That's H's.
So you're going CH and then H's.
H. Yep. So mark that down, will you?
Got it. At 104, laughter.
but
At 106:31, laughter.
he hits
At 106:45, a snort.
And
Listen to what Bill says at 110:59 and then think if you can come up with a more succinct way of describing the same event.
wouldn't that be the perfect outcome in the bubble? Is a Denver Nuggets Miami Heat playoff series fourth rounder?
Well, I'm glad you brought it up.
Okay, here, I'll try. A Denver Heat final.
Yes, yes, you did it. Matt, if anyone has ever criticized your intellect, let this stand forever in honor of your legend.
Chris, I have no doubt that these podcasts will linger into eternity.
Yes. At 114:26, this Joe Bluth nominee.
What I like is it strips out all the shit.
At 114:38, another unusually unnecessary article.
You know, that Toronto was a great example.
That Toronto.
At 1:18:27, Bill uses the check word incorrectly.
He's hitting all the check marks you would hit.
You don't hit check marks. You know what you hit, Matt?
Checkpoints.
Listen 5 seconds later.
Like he's hit every checkpoint so far.
I think he got it right.
The second
and he
time.
was just throwing it in our face. He's like, yeah, I mess up checkpoints. So now I'm going to say checkpoints correctly. At 1:18:48. Matt, you take issue with Subway's food.
Yeah.
I take issue with this.
Footlong season is at Subway.
When is it not footlong season at Subway? Is there a period of
They
time
only have 6-inch subs.
when it's 6-inch season? I like how they pretend footlong season is a specific duration, like Hoagie Fest at Wawa,
Yes.
which I don't think they had this year because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But footlong season is perpetual.
It's always footlong season.
I hate this hat.
I prefer 6-inch season.
At 1:20:05, this is not how you say this vegetable.
Onion.
No G's in onion. There is no G in onion.
Onion.
At 1:23:44, Bill has decided that any video clip is this.
They never show the YouTube clip of the 20 times when it didn't go in.
When the fuck is a network showing YouTube clips? The ESPN telecast. Hang on a second. Show that YouTube clip we compiled of the
do
20
me a favor,
times.
bring up a web browser and then navigate to YouTube and then search for the clip where he misses 20 shots. We'd like to see that one.
At 1:25:03, this bail.
I've been watching the Celtics for how many? I've never seen anybody.
At 1:25:28, I think Bill is describing his own fantasy.
Well, how much strength do you have to your arms behind you?
You're behind arms.
I think he's talking about like a mecha. We need to add 70% strength to your arms. What location? Behind you. Why? To get your sword or something that you carry in your back. Now listen. Now, Matt, 8 seconds later, more physiology.
I think more likely you separate your shoulder because your shoulder is getting pulled backwards out of your body.
It's like the Spectre guy
Yes.
has moved on.
Dr. Bill. Well, I'd like to give you my diagnosis, Matt. You know how you've been having trouble with your arms?
Yeah.
It turns out your shoulder, I almost said sphincter, your shoulder has been pulled out of your body.
So what we're going to have to do is increase power to your behind you arms.
Well, that's true because it was pulled out of your body backwards. Matt, at 1:31:24, count the spots. Ready?
And he has like these 3 spots, a little like Chris Paul. He has like his little spot on the right free throw line. And he's got his little, pretends he's driving, then does the step back 12-footer.
2.
And then he's got like a 20. So he has these shots.
He's got 3 shots.
Bill knew there was 3.
Yes.
And then when he was about to tell you about the 3rd, he forgot what it was.
In order, they are right free throw line.
Right.
Pretends to drive and step back.
Yep.
Twin.
Twin.
I will admit, Matt, you and I
how fun it was
occasionally
when we did this.
pre-pandemic would play some pickup basketball.
Yeah.
My twin was terrible.
I can never hit from the twin.
At 1:31:49, specificity appreciated.
This is Dr. Psychologist Bill Simmons, not my dad, myself.
I guess we should be grateful he went into podcasting because can you imagine if he was like, what are you studying? Psychology, the doctor kind. Oh, why? What do you want to be? A doctor psychologist, of course.
Duh.
At 1:38:43, oh no.
Cue it up, Kyle. Get the record button ready.
Anytime he intones that name. At 1:41:18, unnecessary article.
And the hero just got better as the year went along.
At 1:47:10, this laughter.
Do you want to keep doing?
At 1:49:02, my favorite way to travel through time.
He basically went a time machine back to 2014.
He basically went a time machine.
You know what? For the first time in hearing this, I feel like maybe there's a very, very faint in. He went in a time machine. But you're right. It does sound like he says, went a time machine.
Went a time machine.
He can never just say he went backwards in time. At 1:52:49, this laughter. At 1:54:51, how many V's in really?
And I think it's a really important quality.
At 1:58:43, he's back.
Kyle,
Kyle with an extra K. At 2 hours and 44 seconds, please let this sponsorship end. Please.
remember, we made some bad calls and some good calls this week, but it is still footlong season at Subway. So let's try to keep them mainly good, okay?
Because it is footlong season, despite the fact that we have historically made both good and bad calls, please try to keep your calls good for the sake of footlong season. It just does not follow.
We'll be back after this.
Hey, it's your choice.
From Subway.
For 96 cents, you can have juicy meatballs on fresh baked bread with marinara sauce and loads of fresh cut fixins in a sandwich made right before your eyes or a pre-made burger. Good decision. Subway's meatball sub is just 96 cents for a limited time. Hurry in.
Here are all the things Bill and his guests found delicious in the last week. Or just funny sounds.
For runs. I didn't sold off. I think they used
With the
math.
wow.
Wow. Throws. I don't think the time.
Ooh.
You will. I just probably should.
Whoa. I don't.
People
Whoa.
like
Come out of the
bro. And
as whoops.
And even though the number Millsap, and I don't know, but it's a little robot explaining and because whoa, fan of the shit.
I mean, they just and when I went gonna run, you can
And on September 18th of 2020, Bill talks to Jackie McMullen. This is one of these ones where it's like, pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
But luckily only 137.16.
Oof.
28 seconds in, speeds and charts.
Change your
Speeds,
go check out their awesome
charts.
At 52 seconds.
Make them for your friends. You know they'll ask for one anyway.
No clue.
Oh, they'll ask for one anyway.
You know they'll ask for one anyway.
Boy, that was tough.
At 137, Matt Judge.
We did a whole.
Ooh, that's close.
Whole.
I think he's trying to do a CH, but it comes out as an H.
How about 4 seconds later?
Whole bunch of pieces.
That's H's.
So he can do it.
Yeah.
At 321, Pearl Jam. At 407, I'm not sure this is how warts work.
All of the warts of the Celtics pop up in the second half.
Sometimes they go away, but then they come back.
What's it called when you have one of those asking for a friend? Sexually transmitted diseases that you always have. Chronic?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. In this case, the Celtics warts are not chronic.
Right.
Don't know if they're sexually transmitted.
Only if they're genital.
What's that on the back of your hand? It's a genital wart. You don't have any genitals there. It was a weird weekend in college. At 412, Bill possibly drunk again.
Lack of coaching adjustments.
Remember when it used to be a cool thing where like comedians would just, their whole shtick would be, acts very drunk. At 727, this laughter.
Right?
At 943, more drunk talk.
To expend just following them around.
At 1010, it's really an unnecessary article, but it also sounds like a bizarre ad campaign.
You just feel the Hayward.
Feel the Hayward.
At 1331, Bill remembers his NBA playoffs list and describes it thusly.
The 25 most intriguing players.
Wrong. It was the 25 most intriguing people because it featured coach Nick Nurse.
Chris, wrong. You got to put like a sound effect.
Okay.
The 25 most intriguing players.
At 1620,
Gets Shaq, pulls up the Shaq thing.
Pulls up the Shaq thing from wherever it was.
does he say pulls up
I think he's trying to say,
the Shaq
I
thing?
think it's supposed to be pulls off. Like, I think he's saying gets Shaq and then is clarifying to be like, because he pulled that off because it was like, that was a difficult thing to do. But instead he said pulls up.
Pulls up the shack.
When is the best time to draft someone? During what event?
The draft.
At 1710.
Somebody will get drafted by them in a draft.
Yep.
That's a good place to do it.
At 1924.
Game to the game, and especially in a playoff thing.
What kind of thing?
At 2257, this swallow.
Can fall behind and then score.
At 2345, this Joe Bluth nominee.
So you don't celebrate this much.
Matt, a series of swallows here. At 2748.
On Jokic. Actually, let's take a break.
At 2807.
I watched 11 hours.
At 2812.
Wagers. Watch my favorite.
And at 2822.
This weekend. Another.
Matt, this might be the grossest possible out-of-context theater of the week. At 2952.
Toying with people.
Toying people.
You know, some people like to be toyed.
At 3234, this Joe Bluth nominee.
He's out of all the, and people were comparing him to Bill Walton.
At 3908, Joe Bluth, and then my notes say Strad-ing.
To me, that's when I got, we were straddling the line of, can we call?
The line has to be stratted.
All right, Matt, if you were thinking about something that comes from behind, not in a dirty way, could be any sporting event and any type of athlete, what would you guess?
Horse.
Wow. Here's Bill talking about that. at 46.04.
And Russell just came from behind, like almost like a Kentucky Derby horse.
You know how Kentucky Derby horses are always coming from behind.
I mean, it's all except one of them.
Is he thinking about Secretariat? But he's just like, you know how they always do that in the Kentucky Derby?
The Kentucky Derby horses.
Here's my Kentucky Derby strategy. Start running. Then if other horses are in front of you, come from behind and win the Kentucky Derby.
In other horse races,
Nah.
people don't come from behind.
Oh, this is great. We started out in 5th. I guess we're fucked. Welcome to 5th place, slow-ass horse.
Wish you were a Kentucky Derby horse.
More like a Kentucky glue pot. Matt, don't you hate being under a specific type of bright light? You know what I'm talking about?
Spotlight?
I don't think you do. At 49.53.
But that was 9 straight months of having the shiny flashlight pointed in your eyes.
In your eyes! Oh, man, it is so terrible to be scrutinized. It's like being under a microscope? No. In a spotlight? No. Having a shiny flashlight pointed in your eyes.
That's the one, Chris. That's the one.
Well, here's what happened. I was trying really, really hard for 9 months, and then I wrecked my car due to a shiny flashlight being pointed. What is he talking about? Jesus Christ. Oh, this is what makes him a legend, dude. At 51.14, unnecessary article.
The game one of the Golden State.
At 52.38, laughter. At 55.24, this swallow.
Foreign guys. Like,
this is a weird ask. At 1 hour and 50 seconds.
What more could you ask for? A game day ritual than that? Tackle your weekend.
If you leave out just the word in, a simple question, what more could you ask for? And a game day ritual than that becomes this botched nightmare.
I'm chalking this up to Subway's so bad I can't even get into this.
What more could you ask for? A game day ritual? Than that. And then he's like, yep, we're done. That's lunch.
Let's get a chicken teriyaki sub.
At 101.50, have you ever used a DM?
No, I don't use Twitter.
Do you know what DM means?
Direct message?
Do you think there's any other way you can DM people?
No.
Reporters can DM people directly.
I would like to DM someone indirectly. Oh, you mean I am.
Chris, I will message our friend Dave, but I'm going to send it to you.
Right.
And then you send it to him, but make sure to tell him it's from me.
Still an indirect message. At 103.06, this laughter.
So that's, but not everybody else.
At 108.16, this laughter.
Just filled in my life. And I'm like, yo.
At 109.20, this bail.
I don't know. I don't want to. The people are, I'm like, no, just.
Lose my voice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, listener. At 112.35, this swallow.
They weren't really able to run the ball. And now everybody who.
At 112.39, this swallow.
Panicking. He's taking.
Matt, when the market cannot withstand the price of ours, this is how you pronounce surprisingly. At 113.08.
Going to be surprisingly great.
Surprisingly.
Our inflation is out of control.
At 113.27, when you're snorting during an ad and you don't bother fixing it.
The award-winning Wobble map. The award-winning mobile app.
I like how he was like, man, I said that wrong and hilarious. I'll say it again.
Peppa Pig. It's a Wobble map. At 114.42, lazy.
So that happened. And
at 114.57.
There was swearing. Things were thrown. It's not sure if it was directed at one person or many people.
It's not sure. It's not clear, or I'm not sure, but it's not sure. Listen to this at 115.13 and tell me what is being dragged.
If they can just somehow pull game 3 out of their butts and drag it to Wednesday.
Now, is the butt living game 3 being dragged to Wednesday?
It was in their butts. He pulled it out, and now he's got to drag it.
Rough. At 119.26, this swallow belch combo.
It looks like he's out for a while.
At 125.53, this swallow.
Didn't really blow me away. Barely beat a.
At 131.17, this swallow.
To cover. Great.
At 131.25, this swallow.
Will hang around. And I don't.
At 134.40, Matt, please judge.
I hope in Galladay.
I think it's ages.
You got anything else?
No.
Because I want to get this podcast up.
It's the Bill Simmons podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt.
One time, there was this really good-looking gal who went to college with me, and I would see her from time to time in the dining hall, and I happened to be right next to her when she's getting cereal, and I'm getting cereal, and I decide it's time to make my move. So I said to her, I like to get Life cereal. This Life was Cinnamon Life, and mix it with Crispix.
You have told me this story, but please continue for the listeners.
So then I did the little thing where you pull on the cereal dispenser,
Right.
and the cereal comes out into your bowl, and it came out pre-mixed, Crispix and Life, right? And
Why?
I look at her and I go, I don't know. Like, you just loaded it weird. I don't know. And I look at her and I go, oh, it came out like that. And she was like, what do you think about that? And I was like, I got the skills. Then we just both looked at each other and I walked away.
Did you ever see her again in any other context?
Oh, I saw her a lot. Matt, the pertinent question here is, did I ever speak to her again? No, I did not. Yeah.
Now she's telling that story.
She was like, I met this one skills guy. Didn't work out. Kind of was a dipshit.
Also, he had this weird obsession with cereals that didn't taste like particularly anything, but he liked to mix them together.
Well, no, Life, sweet and cinnamony, but falls apart in the water.
Oh, so it was like
Crispix,
Cinnamon Life.
Crunchy, but tastes kind of like vague corn. So together.
Does regular Life
does
taste
it
like
ruin
cinnamon?
it?
It's only like Cinnamon Life.
Did I ruin it by not saying it was Cinnamon Life?
Well, no, you made it clear at the end.
Edit note, this Life was Cinnamon Life.
So it's going to be like this. So what happened was there was Life and Crispin. This Life was Cinnamon Life.
I got the skills.